Jesus and his disciples went to the town of Capernaum. Then on the next Sabbath he went into the Jewish meeting place and started teaching. Everyone was amazed at his teaching. He taught with authority and not like the teachers of the law of Moses. Suddenly a man with an evil spirit in him entered the meeting place and yelled, "Jesus from Nazareth, what do you want with us? Have you come to destroy us? I know who you are. You are God's Holy One." Jesus told the evil spirit, "Be quiet and come out of the man." The spirit shook him. Then it gave a loud shout and laughed. Everyone was completely surprised and kept saying to each other, "What is this? It must be some new kind of powerful teaching. Even the evil spirits obey him." News about Jesus quickly spread all over Galilee.
Living in the 21st century, I know I'm talking about evil spirits, people that are possessed, and the belief that mental illness was caused by evil spirits sometimes freaks people out, or they just discount it. I used to teach emotionally disturbed kids, and in 15 years of teaching emotionally disturbed kids, I had kids I knew were possessed, because when they were acting up, they had a different voice. And I had this one little guy who was 12 years old. He used to do these weird things. He'd take toothpicks and tissue paper or toilet paper and make little flags. Why? I have no idea. But all of a sudden, and he had a high voice. His voice hadn't changed yet. I'd hear this, "I'm going to hurt you." And I'm okay. No, I came from a very rational family. They didn't believe in things like this. But if you've had direct experience in your life, and you've had people that all of a sudden change their voice and some weird stuff comes out, you think that maybe some mental illness may be caused by being possessed. Even though it goes against everything I was brought up with, when you have your direct experience, it makes it really different. What I really wanted to talk today about was healing. Jesus healed people more than evil spirits. He did physical healing and spiritual healing. A lot of people were lonely. A lot of people didn't feel loved. And Jesus was the one who really came together with people and said, "You know what? You're always welcome at my table." Translating that into modern times, I wanted to share a story with you about a fellow named Brad. Oh, Brad was in love. He was so in love. He had a fiancée by the name of Vivian, and he loved her, except she, just before they were to get married, she reconnected with her old boyfriend. You've heard this story before? Or people reconnecting with an old flame? Well, this is what happened. Brad was absolutely crushed. He felt abandoned. He felt that nobody cared about him. And he thought the best thing to do would be to move away and go into another community, which he did. And he's there sitting in his apartment, feeling sorry for himself. The world has ended for sure. He'll never ever be able to recover, and life will just never go on the way it should. Well, what happened? Because he was getting pretty lonely, he decided to go to a local church and, you know, at least he'd be around some people that might be nice to him. I mean, there was hope, right? So he did, and he couldn't believe the way people embraced him. They were so kind, and they, you know, invited him to things. They were having a potluck that evening, so of course, hey, we all like potlucks, right? You never know what you're going to get in the pot. And so he started coming to church, and he started meeting people. No, this was not the place where he was going to get the new love of his life. The idea is that he found true love from people that had open arms and open hearts. And his loneliness and his broken heart over time was healed. I don't know what became of him. I don't know if he ever found another love of his life. But he had a community that truly cared about him, genuinely, and made him feel that he was a worthwhile person and that he really experienced the unconditional love of God. When we pray, we also pray for people to be healed, correct? And one of the groups that meets here, which they will tonight, is our prayer circle. And many, many years ago, we had a member of our church by the name of Tom. Some of you may remember him. And Tom had diabetes, had to have his one leg amputated below the knee. And you think, well, this is Tom Chase, Cindy's husband. And some people would think, oh, well, this is what is the problem. He's going to have an infection and horrible things are happening. No, it wasn't the fact that he had his leg amputated. He had, to be polite, diarrhea. Now, some people could joke about diarrhea. Do you realize how serious it is? That if it's uncontrollable, it could kill you because all your electrolytes are all messed up. You lose all your potassium. You could go into heart failure. A lot of people don't know how serious this is. And anyway, Tom at this time was in a rehab place. And the doctor was there. Usually you won't find a doctor in the evening. But the doctor was really, really concerned because they'd given him all kinds of medication. They had, had an IV with fluid. They had done all these things, and nothing was working. When the doctor realized who I was and who all the people that were there were, he said, I don't know what we're going to do. If we don't get this stopped, he's going to die. It's that serious. It's just uncontrollable. So our little prayer group, we were all there, 7 or 8 of us, because I had a van that held 8 people back in those days. And we went to his bedside. We laid hands on him. And we prayed for him. And I was told, when I checked up on him, that it was after we had left that the diarrhea had stopped completely. No more. And that he then could live the best life he could with, just the one leg that he could really walk on. So, prayer is for broken hearts. And it also is for physical healing. What about mental healing? Can anyone here say that they've never, ever had anxiety or depression or any of the other kinds of things that affect us in our lives? And sometimes it isn't a physical condition. It is a condition out of life's experience. There was a family that I knew very well. There were 2 brothers. The older brother was the family hero. He was tall, he was big, and he played football. And Mom and Dad would always talk about how great Bruce was. That the kid that they always wanted, this first son, because he made them so proud. And Jim, the younger kid, really was kind of ignored. Oh, if you could only be more like your older brother. Heard that story before? Or you could only be like your older sister. Life would be so much better. And poor Jim, he grew up in the shadow of his older brother, ignored. He was told that he'll never amount to anything. Heard that one before? And just kind of abandoned by his mom and dad because they were so big on that older brother and all his football stuff, okay? And Jim just had no self-confidence at all. He graduated from high school. He was sort of a B student, wasn't stupid, he was a B student, went on to the community college and became a licensed electrician. Anybody ever have their plugs not work? You know how important electricians are. Very important people. And when there's a short or something like that, we need our electricians, right? Very, very important people. So Jim became an electrician, but he didn't think this was any big deal. You know, he knew how to fix just about anything. If it plugs in or there's electricity running through, Jim knew how to fix it. Again, this was a healing experience in a faith community. He just kind of went around. He wasn't as tall as his older brother. He was about 5'8", which is not really short, but he kind of walk around like this with his head down and his shoulders slumped, just kind of almost personifying someone who didn't think that much of themselves, didn't think that they were worthy. To say that he was depressed is kind of an understatement. He was depressed most of his life. And he went to this church, never had really gone to church in his life, but he thought maybe the people might be nice. And right away, he was embraced. And someone asked him, would you be willing to be an usher? And he thought, I don't do things like that. But they showed him, you know, exactly, this is what we expect of you, and this is what we'd really love to have you usher. And so he joined the ushering team and became an usher, and everybody praised him and told him what a good job he did, because he really did. He was very good at what he did. And he was asked, because he also was an electrician. I have a lot of electrician stories today, right? And eventually, after being in the church for a while, getting to know people, he was asked to head what they called it in their church was the facilities team. And these are people that basically who knew how to fix things. And so, well, I don't know how to run a meeting. Well, somebody there said, I'll help you. I'll help you make up an agenda and everything, and I'll help you so that you can lead the facilities team, which he did. He was successful. He was praised. He felt good about himself. This is not anything that happened overnight, all right? You don't go from feeling like you're worthless until feeling really good about yourself and loved and really experiencing the love of God. It doesn't happen overnight. And it didn't with him. It was a gradual healing process. And in this community, where he was the usher and now the facilities team leader, he started feeling good about himself. He started feeling worthy that his life really did make a difference. And in this time, and in this process, he was healed of all of his depression and his anxiety. So when we look back to Jesus, and we see all the different kinds of healings, a lot of them were physical, but a lot of them too were emotional. Jesus had people at his table that nobody would have anything to do with. Can you imagine how they felt about themselves? When I was in school, they used the term cooties. You know, it's like they had cooties. And he said, come on, you're welcome here. I'm not going to go and beat you up about something you did 5 years ago. I don't care if you had some kind of a skin disease. I don't care if you were engaged in some inappropriate profession that nobody has any respect for. Come here. You want to talk to me? Let's eat, let's drink, and let's talk about the good news. And that's hopefully what we're doing here today. Sharing the good news. And the good news is that God created each and every one of you. And God doesn't make junk, right? No. And so that is the good news. And that's the good news we want to share out there in the world that is so hungry for a sense of stability and a sense of worth. And we all have the power to do that, don't we? Amen?
Amen.